Number 52. Amoxil is an antibiotic used to treat infections of the ear, nose, and throat. It is sold as a suspension in water. We got two questions here. What is the weight volume percent concentration in a suspension of amoxil that contains 50 milligrams per milliliter? And then we'll get to part B. So first, part A, it asks you for the weight volume percent concentration. Weight volume percent concentration. Now, this is calculated if you know the grams of solute over the milliliters of solution. So it's going to be grams solute per milliliters of solution. You take that fraction, you multiply it by 100. Now we're told that this is 50 milligrams per milliliter. We need grams per milliliter. So to get from milligrams per milliliter to grams per milliliter, we got to convert milligrams to grams. So 50 milligrams per milliliter, and to turn milligrams into grams, we need this conversion factor. You see the milligrams canceling, and now we'll have grams per milliliter, and then this is correct, and we multiply it by 100%. So we can simplify this. The units are going to be grams per milliliter, and then 50 over 1,000 is 0.050. So we got 0.050 grams per milliliter times 100%, and that gives us 5.0% W over V. Part B says, if the typical pediatric dose is 25 milligrams per kilogram per day, what volume of drug is given for a 15 kilogram child? Now there's two pieces of information you're going to need to answer B. It asks you for what volume of drug. So the answer for B is going to be a certain number of milliliters of drug that you need. It's asking for the volume. And it tells us what the dose is. The dose is 25 milligrams per kilogram. What that means is 25, let me blow this up a little bit, 25 milligrams of drug per kilogram body weight. That's what it's talking about. 25 milligrams of drug per kilogram of body weight. And we can interpret this as if you got 1 kilogram of body weight, then that means you need 25 milligrams of drug. So here's a relation. Now the concentration that we used in part A is 50 milligrams per milliliter, and that means 50 milligrams of drug per milliliter of medication. So if you got 1 milliliter of medication, it's going to have 50 milligrams of drug. Now, we got a 15 kilogram child, so we know how many kilograms of body weight, and we can use the first relation to get from kilograms body weight to milligrams of drug, and then the concentration to get from milligrams drug to milliliters of medication. And it's asking us for the volume, the milliliters of medication. So you can see we're going to use these two relations in this order. So we start with 15 kilograms body weight. We get to milligrams of drug using the first relation. Then we go from milligrams drug to milliliters medication using the second relation. So you see the units canceling out, and doing the math, you get 7.5 milliliters of medication.